Hey guys, what is up? Inksmith back again, and today, going back to my roots, covering an OG YouTuber you may know as Tobuscus, also aka Toby Turner. Now, in the last few years, Toby Turner has kind of fallen off of YouTube. I don't think you hear much about him anymore. And there's a good reason for that because it turned out he wasn't really showing us much of who he really was. And in my honest opinion, and take this for what it will be, I think a lot of times what we create a connection to YouTube channels through is the personalities that we see within videos. And while Tobuscus showed a very wild ADHD personality, which I myself have ADHD, so I understand the thrill of showing that online, it turned out he wasn't completely showing us everything and was hiding quite a bit of who he was. There's a lot of stuff up in the air still about whether or not the allegations against him are true or false. A lot of people want to say it's all against the Me Too movement for anybody who denies what he actually did. And there's some who say guilty until proven innocent seems to be the way of life these days. So we need to be a little more laid back with what we throw at people as far as allegations are concerned. Anyway, what exactly did happen to Tobuscus? Well, here's what you need to know. Toby Turner, aka Tobuscus, is a renowned, multi-talented American internet personality. He was a musician, an actor, a comedian, all of which he thrived at with a vast social media backing. But the internet sensation has not always lived a glamorous life. Some years back, he was caught in a controversy that almost ended his career. So, what happened to Tobuscus? Known to be a legendary YouTuber, Toby Turner has had his ups and downs in the industry. In 2016, he found himself famous for all the wrong reasons when his ex-girlfriend, April Fletcher, made R-word charges against him. Following April's accusation, Tobuscus' life became a nightmare. So were the complaints legit, and did he ever bounce back? Well, that's a very good question. Toby Turner was born on March 3rd, 1985 in Osborne, Mississippi. However, he grew up in Florida, where he attended the University of Florida. Tobuscus always knew he wanted to do things that revolved around the camera. Hence, he graduated with a film degree that eventually got him to where he is today. Tobuscus is a vlogger with his video gaining massive tractions. His sister is called Angie and has been spotted several times in Toby Turner's videos. Toby's dog, Griffin, aka Falker, is also a frequent guest in his funny vlogs. After what happened to Tobuscus, the social media guru has decided to maintain a sort of low profile these days regarding his love life. So lately there hasn't been much news regarding his dating life, and of course I want to respect his privacy in that aspect. Turner's main YouTube channel, Tobuscus, is one of the most subscribed channels on the platform from the days that he really got his start back in 2016. He has made other channels, of course, like Toby Games, that focuses mostly just on gaming. On the other hand, Tobuscus' sub count is quite impressive. Tobuscus has 6.26 million subscribers, while Toby Games has 6.3 subscribers, even more than his original channel. Turner is a perfect example of millionaires who earn from YouTube. His net worth was estimated to be around 4.5 million as of 2017, and his YouTube earnings are equally remarkable. The internet icon makes more than $140 depending on his number of views per video. And Tobuscus' last video earned about $166,000. Aside from his videos, Tobuscus has featured on Cartoons Network, The Annoying Orange Show, which I quite oddly was a fan of back in my days of watching that. He has also earned mainstream recognition with his trailer rendition on Dead Island and Iron Man 3. What happened to Tobuscus? Well, on April 8th, 2016, Turner's reputation was tainted when his ex-girlfriend April Fletcher, aka April Elf, made rape accusations against him. April F. also indicted him of doing drugs and drugging her before raping her on February 2013. She further accused Turner of cheating on her with other women, with the possibility of them also being raped. To address Tobuscus' allegations, Turner said this in a video. A person I dated a few years ago has just made some extremely serious false accusations about me, and I want to be crystal clear. I have never done anything without her consent. That's how his, confrontation of this allegation begins, but it goes further. Let's listen now.
A person I dated a few years ago has just made some extremely serious false accusations about me. And I want to be crystal clear. I've never done anything without her consent. I've never tried to trick her into anything. I read her Tumblr post and I was shocked and I was hurt. These allegations are absolutely false. I just wanted to address it. That's all.
Okay, so not exactly the most rousing speech to show him to be innocent. I mean, pretty much his video is what was said was a lie. I didn't do it. The end. I really think Toby could have been better with showing receipts, with any kind of documentation that would have helped. I mean, these are some pretty serious allegations. And while I still, to this day, don't know exactly what happened, was he really guilty of this or not? Both parties haven't really come forward with anything showing that what they're saying is backed up by proof, receipts, messaging, anything like that. I think what the biggest problem was that we were starting to realize that the real personality of Toby never did come forward on his videos. And I think that's kind of what really hit his career. I think there was a couple things going on at this time that kind of really sunk his channel. Number one, the allegations come out. Number two, he didn't really address them in any way. Number three, he wasn't really showing us his true personality. And number four, a lot of his viewers grew up. Of course, some of this humor doesn't really carry over. While addressing Turner's inappropriateness to her, another person came forward, Jacqueline Glenn. She emphasized that much as she felt pressure towards certain instances, she was never forced to act against her will. So Jacqueline goes against what the last person, April, said, saying she was never forced any kind of sexual situation or intimate situation that she didn't feel comfortable with. Jacqueline Glenn and Toby Turner were dating back in 2015, just before Tobuscus started dating April. What happened to Tobuscus is nothing strange in Hollywood entertainment. Other celebrities have been in similar positions before, where they've had an issue and had to make a public apology or face court charges. In extreme instances, some have even lost their hard-made careers. On the other hand, Tobuscus is focusing on growing, I guess, in a social network way. He's still trying to go out of his way to run a website and I guess use Facebook and other things to grow his career in different ways, but it doesn't really seem to be working out. Where is Tobuscus going to go from here? Well, it's not really too sure. And I think what really kind of set him back is that a lot of his humor, a lot of his videos are still in the 2014 era where he started his YouTube career, and that really hasn't proliferated with how YouTube is an ever-changing platform and horizon as far as careers are concerned. A lot of his humor is still based on what he had back in 2014, which hasn't really matured with him or his audience, leaving him kind of in the past. At the same time, while his audience was a younger crowd and he himself was younger, his audience has grown up, but it seems as though Toby himself has not. And I think the other thing is we've never really seen Toby come forward and present his true self. I think he's still hiding behind this shell of what he thinks people want him to be on YouTube, which that's fine. I think we all do that to a certain extent of creating a YouTube personality that separates us from our real life personality, but you've got to be able to take a step away at times and present actual things going on in your life. Like, for example, if Toby really is dealing with some depression or Toby really is dealing with some very hard mental struggles, then he needs to come forward and talk about that to let his audience understand why there is a sudden dip in his video creation. For example, even on my own channel, I had to come forward and tell people when I got coronavirus and talk about that and how that was going to affect just even how I read stuff on my channel for a while. And I think that's where Toby's kind of lost a connection, a sort of personal connection with his audience. That's a big thing these days because when people follow a certain personality, they're doing it because they feel like they connect with somebody like they're a friend. They feel like they connect with somebody because it's like them having a conversation with either a close relative or someone they've made friends with over the year. And Toby has not been able to build that, mostly because number one, he never did address these allegations against him, and number two, because he didn't mature along with his audience. Now, what do I think about the actual allegations against him, the rape allegations, the drug allegations? Well, going through multiple videos and researching this quite a bit, I still to this day cannot confirm 100% that any of the rape allegations are true, because there was other girls who came out and defended him, said that they were always treated great. I don't want to discount what April said, and I want to stay objective and say that if it does come out later where charges are pressed against Toby, then I'm more than happy to stand behind April in her march against the Me Too movement and, get justice for her. At the same time, if that never happens, we're kind of left in a limbo state where I don't want to come out and say I believe her 100% or I believe Toby 100%. We are in limbo, just like the allegations against Toby. Now, what I will say I think is definitely 100% true is that Toby seemed to have a problem with the drug Molly. It's like ecstasy, if you don't know exactly what that drug is. He appears to have had a very strong connection to using Molly quite a bit. And almost every girl ever interviewed about Toby, anything you looked up on Toby, this constantly came up. Now, is he still using Molly constantly? Probably not. Probably he's gotten past, I don't know if this was an addiction. I've never heard of people being addicted to ecstasy or Molly, but maybe it was for him an addiction. I know we say there are certain drugs like weed and stuff that don't have addictive properties, but I think that's really relative to the person and how their brain operates. Nonetheless, I think this addiction at the time, or this overuse of Molly, did affect his career. People like even Philip DeFranco came out and said they had dealt with him and that he was very wild in the past and very erratic because it seemed like he was constantly on drugs. And I think this was his delve into this sort of deep, dark hole that Molly took him on. And I think that can also kind of sever some past relationships, especially if, once again, you never address it. And I feel like that is Tobuscus's biggest weakness here, is he never did address that aspect. I can understand that he didn't address the rape allegations because that actually delves into legal territory where he could go to jail, and bringing that up again and again, especially when the girl who actually made the allegations against him has deleted everything she ever said. She deleted all her old Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, every kind of post she ever made about Toby, so she's not really part of the conversation anymore. But it does seem like his drug use was a big part of the conversation. Everybody who talked about him, including Jacqueline Glenn, said that he had a massive problem with always doing this. And look, everybody goes through some weakness in their life. Some people go through addictive weaknesses, and I'm not dogging on him for that. Okay, I've had my own addictions in life. I've struggled with my own, and so I'm not about to attack a guy for something like that. But I think this erratic behavior that he had and these erratic interactions he had, where Philip DeFranco talks about how in the past when he would deal with Toby was a little all over the place. I think that kind of showed us just how much he was hiding from his audience, how he was constantly pretending to be a different person. And this is what really affected him. I think if he came forward, did a sort of tell all, it would really renew, rejuvenate, and possibly even bring his career back. But we'll see if that ever happens. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I've been the Inksmith. Let me know what you want to see in the future. I will talk to you again soon.